Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Good morning, Vietnam!
You are great.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious...
You're listening to the 30-something movie podcast. Classic movies, 30 years in the making. La 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 la. And 30-something movie podcast.
Hey, hey, hey!
Pat's here.
Hey!
How you doing, Pat?
Doing well, man.
Good. So it's a 30-something movie podcast. We're here to talk about another movie from 1988, although we are almost at 89.
Getting close.
In the very little free time that I have, I've been working on next year's schedule and like how to arrange everything into their different months and the acrobatic stretching that I have to do to figure out what the themes are for the months. And yeah, so I'm kind of like, I'm almost full on into 1989 mode now. Can I just share with you something I think you're going to appreciate?
Share with me something.
The first movie we're doing at the very beginning of
Batman.
January is... Yes.
Yay!
It's Batman. I did that just for you.
Woo!
I did that just for you. Because I knew you would appreciate it.
Wouldn't the funny thing be if, like, I can't make that podcast?
In which case, if you can't make that podcast, I'm going to reschedule it, and we'll do Batman the last week of
Could you
December.
imagine how many voicemail messages I would have to leave on the love line to, like, you know...
You would just have to record your own episode, and we'll just tack it on to the end. Yeah. So, no, yeah, if you missed that one, I'm moving Batman all the way back to the end of December.
All right, that
we won't
sounds
do
good.
it until then. So that's your punishment for not doing that.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, so hey, you know what? It's election day here in the States.
It is.
So it's kind of a big day. Did you vote yet?
Yes,
Okay.
last week.
Oh, you voted already? You
I
voted
did early just because...
Often? Just early.
I'm from Chicago.
This is
so
Chicago,
often.
so we...
No, I voted
That's how we
early
do it
just because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to the polls today. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I see your sticker. You voted.
I did vote today.
We have
I did.
done our civic duty.
We did it. So we're good for like another couple of years, right?
Yeah.
That's all we got to do. I don't have to do anything else good for the next 2 years. Spoiler alert, we do spoil the movies we talk about.
Yes.
If you have not given us a review on iTunes yet, if you're listening and you like what you're hearing, please leave us a review on iTunes. We would very, very much appreciate it. And then visit our website. 30podcast.com is a great way to find all the other different ways that you can interact with us. We've got some other links up there, sometimes we put up extra things on the website. Way to find our Twitter and our Facebook and everything else all up on that. So if you go to 30podcast.com, that is our website, and that's other ways that you can interact with us and the show. So, let's see. I got a couple of news things real quick. They're probably not... One might be a little bit more of a discussion than the other, because I don't think you watched the first one.
Okay.
Walking Dead. You don't watch Walking Dead. You're not a zombie person. We talked about that the last time, so... Okay. Walking Dead apparently... spoiler alert for The Walking Dead. I haven't watched this season yet.
Okay.
And spoiler alert for anybody who is not yet caught up to Walking Dead.
Right.
The main character of Rick Grimes has left the show.
Okay.
And again, I'm not caught up, but I do know he has left the show. I don't know if he has died. I don't think he has, because the news that came out, and so that was kind of a spoiler in and of itself, the news that came out after this latest episode of The Walking Dead was that they are going to be creating 3 Walking Dead movies, and he's going to be featured as a character in there. So I'm assuming he's not dead. If it's 3 movies of him walking around as a zombie, then I guess he could be dead, but... I'm guessing probably not. So they're taking the TV show and going the movie route. I don't know if that means the movies will be shown on AMC or if they'll actually be like movie theater movies.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So I don't know. So we'll find out. Okay, here's the one that I thought might end up getting a little bit more talk out of us. There was an article. Basically, what the article said was children should not emulate superheroes, because superheroes are more violent than their evil counterparts. That apparently there was a scientific study, new study, and for whatever that means. Here's the headline. New study claims movie superheroes are more violent than supervillains. Movie superheroes of the MCU and the DCEU franchises are actually more violent than the supposed villains they battle, according to a new study. Here we go. According to researchers at Penn State University, that actually might not be a good thing for fans and children to emulate their superheroes, with fans potentially rooting for the wrong side. Ahead of a presentation at the American Academy of Pediatrics 2018 National Conference and Exhibition, researchers studied a range of superhero movies. They focused primarily on the top 10 grossing films from 2015-2016. These would have included Age of Ultron, Suicide Squad, Batman v Superman, Beavis Dodge, as we affectionately call it. The results were unexpected, to say the least. They said that while villains averaged 18 violent acts per hour, heroes averaged 23. Heroes were more often shown fighting, using lethal weapons, destroying property. Even more worrisome still is that heroes committed 168 murders. Villains, meanwhile, only committed 93. The only time villains actually lived up to their names is when researchers assessed acts of intimidation, bullying, and torture. So, there's that. Patrick, your response.
My initial
Wrong! I think you skip from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
go
that
ahead.
was from Saturday Night Live, but it was the takeoff of the McLaughlin group.
Yeah.
You remember those guys? Pat, you cannot win.
Pat Cantagolo!
So, okay. Of all the things
I can see the wheels
that we need to
grinding
study,
to a halt in your head.
of all the things that are happening right now, I mean, we decide to study movies, but that's okay. We'll put that beside the point. My reaction within the movie thing is this. Okay, if you're going to sit there and say that superhero movies are violent, then I'm down with that. Because I've been saying, and I mean, I've been on the podcast saying that, and I think we tolerate so much more violence in our movies now than like language or adult romantic scenes or nudity and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're like, I think for what we like cringe at, I think we're almost like borderline Puritans in terms of like what. Oh boy, why is that not have an R rating? Now, once you get to the R rating, like I think we show a ton of stuff, and like that's beside the point. But I think in terms of what as a society we like raise our eyebrow, like whoa, that was a little racy. I think we are way more narrow focused on that than what we allow in terms of violence. I think the violence that we allow in PG-13 movies is been going up and up and up. Case in point, Dominic and I just watched Jurassic World, and we've been working our way through it, and it was like, I knew that was going to be borderline watching that with him, and I watched it, and he was okay with it, but I was like, yeah, he likes dinosaurs, and so, okay, this is okay, and he wants to watch the second one now, and I'm definitely going to watch that first, and I mean, I kind of like, the floodgates are open, and and it is animals, and that's. But still, I look at that like Jurassic World compared with Jurassic Park in '93.
Right.
It's just there's more violence.
Yeah.
But they're both PG-13 rating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it used to be you could get by with saying the F word once or twice, or in Titanic. Oh my gosh, there was a little bit of full frontal nudity. Yeah. Not full. I'm sorry, that was wrong. But a little bit of nudity. But that was PG-13.
Like your French girls.
Yeah, but now that would be a strict rating, and oh my gosh, I'm concerned that my kids are watching that. But you have no problems with dinosaurs chewing apart people and bloody handprints and all this kind of stuff. So that being said, if they're using this to talk about like, wow, there's a lot more violence in movies, I would be up for that, because I'm always assessing those things when I watch movies. That being said, that the fact that you're saying we should root for the villain because like how many times on screen does this happen or that happen or the other thing, that has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, and I don't think the researchers would say we have to root for the villains. I'd have to go back.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood.
Well, no. I don't think the researchers are saying that. I think that's how the people writing the articles are spinning it.
Gotcha.
It's like look at, they're trying to be provocative about it. They're like, look what the researchers saying. They're saying we should pull for the bad guys.
Okay.
Which I don't think that. I mean, I haven't read the study myself, but
gotcha.
I don't think that's probably.
So this was an article reporting about the study. This wasn't the
study itself. Right.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Well, then it just sounds like they're trying to make a splash.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going to step inside that world, let's go case by case and just see how is it being portrayed.
Yeah.
So the heroes are on screen more because that's who you want to root for. So of course you're going to see them do
you're going to see them do more stuff.
Now, as far as murders, I mean, like, okay, we could count that, the body count. That kind of goes under the, is it the A-team where you can beat the snot out of someone, but they all get up and kind of walk away? I mean, you don't really see it, so I don't know. That just seems to be like we're trying to make a splash.
Right.
What do they call it? Clickbait or something like that.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'm going to ratchet it down. But if they're studying it just to understand, take a look, that there's more violence in movies now, then I would be fine with that.
Okay.
But that being said, I don't know. That just, okay.
Yeah. So we paused the recording there for a second. You won't know that because I will have edited it out. But Bo's here now.
Hey, Bo.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Bo. So we were just talking, and we're not going to take too much more time to talk about it, but we were just talking about this new study that came out a few days ago or a little while back, in which it says that superheroes are more violent than supervillains. And they cited the number of violent acts that superheroes perpetrate on video versus the number of violent acts that villains actually perform, and said that these superheroes are more violent. So that kind of took us into talking about what are they trying to get us to think of here? Are they trying to tell us don't emulate superheroes, or maybe you should be cheering for the villains? And the conclusion we came up with is we think that maybe the articles that were written about this study were trying to be very clickbaity and trying to tell you that, hey, maybe you should cheer for the villains instead of the heroes. And we also came to the conclusion, and that led into our conversation about...
Internet is full of clickbait?
And that kind of led us into the conversation we were having about maybe when you go see a movie that contains violence or fighting or whatever, and you're going to see it with children in particular, maybe you talk to the children. Maybe you have a conversation with the children.
But have you checked the children?
It's 8 o'clock. Do you know where they are?
I'm asking you, have you checked the children?
Oh, I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I don't know.
Hard to talk to them.
Won't somebody think of the children?
Please,
What
God!
about the children?
Somebody think of the children. So, do you have any more to add on that? Or
No, I mean, I think, talking is always good. Everyone wants the perfect recipe to solve all their problems, and they want it to come from out there somewhere. When usually most of the ways to solve your problems aren't usually out there.
Let's see, you said recipe, and I only had a salad for lunch, so now I'm hungry. Thanks a lot. All right, so before we get into young Einstein, which I know you guys are just itching to just gush about.
Like a didgeridoo on a Sunday morning.
Yep, that's right.
I'll say the movie's growing on me like a rash.
Like a rash? Okay. All right. Very quickly, this week in 88. So looking at the week of, let's say, November 7th to 13th in 1988. We did say earlier that we're recording this on Election Day in the United States. And this week in 1988, on November 8th, there was the U.S. presidential election, and in 1988, George H.W. Bush was elected president. I don't think I found too many other big events that were happening during this week at the time, so other than that, maybe a little bit of a low-key week. Top song was Wild Wild West by the Escape Club. The top book was The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. And the top movie for the week ending November 6th was They Live. The top movie for the week ending November 13th was Child's Play. So a lot of horror movies.
Well, this is still Halloween week.
October,
sort
November.
Of-ish.
Not a whole lot of Thanksgiving
Chucky.
movies out there. Chucky. I just keep thinking about the scene, and I won't. We're trying to be family friendly, so I won't repeat the line. But from Ready Player One,
I was just going to say that I finally saw Ready Player One, and that was like I remember that scene, and that was awesome.
That was one of those scenes where all of a sudden Chucky's there, and somebody screams something that I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah.
And in the theater, I'm just like, oh, I love this movie.
This is making me feel happy inside.
I love everything about this. Thank you to the people who made it.
We'll go to Disneyland.
Right. So that is this week in 88. I don't know. Can you remember anything else that was going on this week in 88? Think back to when you were a child. What was going on for you this week?
I went as Mr. Spock for Halloween.
Oh, did you?
Right.
In 88?
No, it would have been 87.
Okay.
88. I can't remember what I...
I'm trying to think of what I would...
Yeah.
That's a good question now that I'm...
For Halloween,
Now
that's
that
a
you
good
just
one.
rattled that off right away.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I wonder if 88 was the year that my mom made me, and I hesitate to repeat this in
Oh, this is
public.
going to be good.
She made me and my sister dress up as Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
No.
That's cute.
I hated it. It was absolutely
Well, I
horrible.
get that you hated it.
For school, she let me dress up as Superman. And I don't know, I don't know if that was Halloween of '88, but it was right around this time.
Yeah, we had just moved out here.
Oh, okay.
So new school, new
Okay.
people.
All right. You moved in November?
No, we moved in the
okay.
summer, but
Okay.
still, in the first few months,
Still a
you
little
know.
awkward. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's this week in '88. So should we jump into Tasmania?
Yeah.
All the way into Tasmania.
Crikey.
The title of this one is Young Einstein. Release date was the 4th of August, 1980. Why do I have 89 written here? See, I told you, I'm like full on into 89 mode. I've been working on planning stuff for next year, and I just keep like writing 89 everywhere, and I'm thinking of 1989 movies, and it's not good. It's not good. I have to focus on the here and now. I have to focus on the living force.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Be mindful. All right. Okay. 4th of August, 1988, rated PG, with a runtime of 1 hour and 31 minutes. Some think that might be 1 hour and 32 minutes too long. Directed by Yahoo Serious, who also did Reckless Kelly and Mr. Accident. Producers were David Roach, Warwick Ross, and Yahoo Serious. Roach did Mr. Accident, Ross did Red Obsession, and Serious did Reckless Kelly and Mr. Accident. Writers for this one are David Roach and Yahoo Serious. Roach did Red Obsession, and Serious did his other two movies, Reckless Kelly and Mr. Accident. Cinematography by Jeff Darling, who did a movie called The Crossing. Music, there were three different people listed for the music here. One was Martin Armiger. He did the music for Dark City. Love that movie.
So good.
William Motzing, who died in 2014, did the music for Battlefield Earth. And Tommy Tycho, who died in 2013, did the music for You Can't See Round Corners. Budget for this one was $5 million. Box office was $24.9 million. Flick Metrics gives it an average of 46. That takes into consideration the tomato meter of 36, the audience score of Rotten Tomatoes of 50, IMDb gives it a 51, Letterboxd gives it a 48. Starring Yahoo Serious as Albert Einstein. He was also in Albert Einstein, was in Reckless Kelly and Mr. Accident. Odile Leclésio was Marie Curie. She was in Beyond Innocence and Backsliding. John Howard was Preston. He was in A Cry in the Dark. A dingo stole my baby. That was very much a British accent. That didn't work well. I apologize to all of our listeners in Australia.
You made the effort.
I tried. I really, really tried. And then he was also in Mad Max Fury Road. Pee Wee Wilson was Mr. Einstein. He was only in Young Einstein. And Sue Cruikshank was Mrs. Einstein, his mother, and she was in a movie called Undercover. Here is the trailer, and we'll be back in just a second.
Now, Australia's colossal comedy hit, starring its newest comedy hero, comes to the States. Yahoo Serious is Young Einstein.
Albert Einstein.
He is destined to create the most powerful scientific theories in history.
I discovered the formula for splitting beer atoms.
Only one girl is brilliant enough to understand him.
My name is Marie Curie.
Only one man is low enough to steal from him. Albert discovers that there are even worse things in the big city than a cat pie. For example,
An atomic bomb.
if ever the world needed a revolutionary new theory, it's now. At last, the incredible untold story of the greatest mind of all time. Albert Einstein, thrill seeker, lover, adventurer, genius.
Who is this barbarian? I'm a Tasmanian.
Warner Brothers proudly presents Yahoo Serious as Young Einstein. One seriously funny movie.
Okay, so let's start off with maybe the most obvious question here. Is this the first time that you saw this movie, Bo Differus?
Yes, it was.
Bo Derek.
I'm intrigued.
You don't look like Bo Derek.
By the fact that it's the first time I've seen it.
Okay.
Like, it just seems like a silly,
Seemed like
strange
one you
enough
would've liked.
movie that I would have tried it back then. But I was young enough that, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. And Pat, had you seen this one before?
Not, no. Nope. Nope, this was the first time.
Sometimes I almost wish we did a video podcast.
That's all I got for you guys.
Just so you could see Pat's face.
Yeah,
Pat's just sitting there, he's like, I hate you for having made me watch this movie.
I am dumber.
We're all dumber for having... Nowhere in your incoherent, rambling response of a movie.
I just have so many questions about...
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Well, and it all just comes back to why.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's for later in the podcast. This was the first time I'd seen
it's for
the
now.
movie.
I mean,
okay.
This is not the first time I had seen this movie.
Okay.
I saw this. I think I saw this movie in the theater. Now I don't remember either. I saw this in the theater or I saw Reckless Kelly, his other movie, in the theater because. And again, I don't know why we would have gone to see this in the theater. It did not do very well in the States. It did okay, but it did much better in Australia. I think I read that it was the number 2 grossing movie in Australia after Crocodile Dundee. So it was a big hit. And actually he was a fairly well-known director in Australia. I mean, he was big-time celebrity there. I think he had done some documentaries before this, but really his only 3 movies were the 3 that we listed on here, The Young Einstein, Reckless Kelly, and Mr. Accident. And he did those from 88 to, I think Mr. Accident came out in 2000, and he's basically disappeared since 2000. Like, I tried to search online, and like, where is Yahoo Serious now? And there were some pictures of him. The last event he ever showed up at was in 2007, and then I guess somebody took a picture of him while he was running errands with his dog last year in 2017. But they were like, yeah, no, he's living in a modest house in an affluent neighborhood in Australia, and he's just going about his business. And neighbors, we asked neighbors, do you know he lives here? And they're like, yeah, we just leave him alone though. He's just living his life, so we don't care.
Live and let live.
Do his thing, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So after these 3 movies, he didn't do a whole lot, and each one obviously had a little bit of diminishing returns with each one. Each one was less popular and less successful than the others. But I remember watching this as a kid, and I might have watched it a few times as a kid. Like, we might have rented it. It might have been on TV somewhere. I don't know. But I remember thinking as a kid this movie was hilarious. And so then I knew it was kind of weird and quirky. I knew it was very much... I always thought of it as like an Australian version of an Ernest movie.
Yes.
It has some of the same beats as an Ernest movie, and because I like the Ernest movies, that's kind of the lens through which I look at this movie. I'm like, it doesn't always make sense. It's not always super funny, but there's a bit of a charm there. Even if though he's a weird, quirky guy, he still spends most of the movie being very innocent. And there's kind of that innocent charm that Ernest has in his movies. It's just Australian. It's got a little bit of a different vibe to it. So I mean, he's different enough, but he's kind of like a mix between Ernest P. Worrell and Carrot Head.
Yeah.
Or Carrot Top.
Carrot Top.
I'm still thinking of like Pumpkinhead.
I was gonna say that's an interesting
Carrot Head.
Carrot Head. Gosh, that's a very frightening option. I don't want to go there.
Pumpkinhead with bushy red hair.
I too got that experience watching the movie. Just like, okay, I'm sure I would have liked this as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I liked watching him.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were some of the situational things were kind of funny. Like it was like, okay, he's going to bring rock and roll, and the surf scene.
Albert
was
Einstein
fun.
invented surfing.
Yeah, and it was all that, but I like
people are randomly, swaddling kangaroos and.
Well, yeah, it was just And so, is it just going to be completely bizarre? Okay, that's not my kind of humor, kind of thing, or is like I just didn't get. I'm like Tom Hanks in Big. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Right.
It's like, well, is it so? And then why is he Albert Einstein?
Right.
He was German.
Right.
And then he's Australian.
Right.
And it's just like, but you don't get the joke. Yeah, I don't get it. So explain that. Why?
Yeah, is there a joke?
Like if you were,
it's meant to be absurd.
Yeah. Oh, it's that.
Yeah, it is. But it seems so disjunct that I couldn't latch into anything. Like even the movies like an Ernest movie has a story,
Right.
or a Pee Wee Herman movie, which I don't want to call absurd because I know like everyone on the podcast is going to be ready to fight with that. But it's like I didn't.
Well, we don't mean absurd like negative, like
Right.
absurd as in like a form of comedy.
Style, right? It's
Okay.
definitely absurdist.
The Pee Wee Herman thing, there was a good story there. Like I watch movies that I know my kids like, and I can latch on to the story. This, I was so confused with like, well, what are we doing? And then the bubbles in the beer, and then somehow splitting a beer atom is going to cause a nuclear reaction, and then I was.
The story
That's
is
the
really
one
disjointed.
part that I at least was like, okay, he split a beer atom, he made an explosion.
Yeah.
It made bubbles. I get that part conceptually. I mean, not like in reality, but fine.
Yeah.
And then it was trying to make a commentary on how something that can be used for good can always be twisted to bad. And yes, by splitting the atom, and I'm making air quotes here, he created bubbly beer. In doing so, he learned how to split the atom, which was then twisted by the baddies to make a bomb.
Then if you're going to do that, if it's going to be, what would that be? An allegory for what happened with his thing? Then maybe focus on that so that it's a little bit more, not obvious, but poignant. Like this was a lesson of, okay, he beat the bad guy. There wasn't any, everyone was so ridiculous, it was just kind of like, haha. Like, I don't even think my kids would walk out with the, oh, well, did you notice that good stuff can be like that wasn't very prevalent in it. So I mean,
well, and what concerned me so much, it did well in Australia. Why? What am I missing? Like, what?
Yeah,
I think a different sense of humor. You know how the British sense of humor is very dry.
Yeah,
I think that the Australian sense of humor is very quirky.
That's a sure. Yeah, quirky. That's a choice of words. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
And I'm obviously not from Australia, so if somebody's from Australia and they have a better explanation for that,
unless we're stereotyping. I don't know.
Help us out, man, because
see, with this movie, the quirky parts of it, in much the same reason that I enjoy the Ernest movies and the Pee Wee movies and things like that.
And that's the thing. I love all of that.
Yeah. The quirky parts of, I think what you both have said is I think had you watched this as a kid, it might have been different.
Well, yeah.
Because I did watch this with my kids, and what was funny was our household was the broad spectrum of responses to this movie. There was me sitting in my chair going, oh, I remember that scene. That part's not as funny as I remember. Oh, there's like apples everywhere because I don't know. Everybody's got a kangaroo. That's kind of funny. Oh, look at the koala. That's it's totally ridiculous. Einstein didn't do that. So that's my response. My response is, this is not a great movie, but I remember the parts that I thought were funny as a kid, and there was still a couple parts that I was like, that's just so stupid that I just kind of have to chuckle because it's just dumb, and it's one of those things that's like, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to be dumb, silly, absurd. You got it. Like at that point, you got it. Some of the other stuff, some of it was kind of falling flat for me, and most of the movie, I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, this was an hour and a half, wasn't it? Okay, all right, probably could have been a little bit shorter, but that's all right. Now, John, my son John, who's 11. His response was, it was kind of funny. Yeah, it was, there were parts that I laughed, and he laughed throughout the movie, and he's like, it was pretty funny. It was weird. It was pretty weird. I mean, I don't know that I got all of it, but it wasn't bad. Of course, Nora is sitting there, and she's like, the movie ends, and she's like, oh, Dad, best movie ever. Yeah. And I was like, so everybody give me like your rating out of it, and I haven't gotten to Sharon yet, my wife, and I'll share her thoughts in a moment. I said, okay, well, for the podcast, sometimes we rate things out of 5. So if you were to rate this out of 5, what would you give it? And John was like, I might give it a 3. Nora's like, can I go higher than a 5? Yeah.
And she wasn't just messing with you.
No, she wasn't messing with me. I think anything, because she's got a very weird, quirky sense of humor too.
That's true.
And she seems to have a very advanced sense of humor for an 8-year-old.
I would agree with that statement as well.
And I think some of the stuff in this movie, like where they just like randomly rattle off scientific equations, or they kept saying EMC instead of E equals MC squared. Like, she gets that. And normally you wouldn't think that like a second grader would get some of those things, like the irony of it. But she's like, that's totally not how you say that. Now, I did tweet out after watching the movie, I said, I introduced the kids to young Einstein, but I may have also jeopardized my marriage in the process.
Okay. Sharon did not react.
When I asked my lovely wife, who I love very, very much, and she's very lovely, light of my life,
she's not
apple of my eye, she's not listening. But just in case.
My wife doesn't listen either.
No.
Are you kidding?
No,
I was asked by my wife, I can't remember how she put it. Oh, she was asking if we have actual listeners.
Oh.
And I said, it depends on, what you consider actual listeners. But yeah, she's like, well, I mean, not everybody's wives.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, honey, none of the wives listen to this.
No.
That's awesome.
They hear us talk all the time. Yeah. They don't want to hear anymore.
No.
And that's exactly,
like, no one, she doesn't want to hear me talk
Although
anymore.
I did get a text from my sister-in-law. Wanted you to know I'm listening to your podcast. I am enjoying it a lot. Great job.
Oh, nice.
That's Crazy Town.
Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
What's your sister-in-law's name?
Julie.
Julie. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks,
So
Julie.
Julie gets a shout out on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. So it's exciting.
So Julie can write us and let us know, or call in to the Love Line and let us know if she watched Young Einstein.
Exactly.
I probably don't put her through that. But.
Yeah.
So Sharon's response when I asked for a rating out of 5, she just looked at me and she's like, I'm not going to give you a rating out of 5.
She rejected the question.
She rejected the question. She almost rejected me, but she definitely rejected the question. She just kind of.
I just see John walking into the bedroom and then the door slams.
Yep. So she's like, I'm not going to give you a number. And how long was this movie? I was like, I think it was like an hour and 31 minutes. She's like, yeah.
You owe me.
Yeah. That's an hour and 31 minutes that I'm never, ever getting back. Ever again. So let's not talk about this anymore.
Wow.
Okay, all right, cool.
For me, it was just too disjunct. There were parts that, and I could see the comment. Okay, I could see where kids are like, the surf scene, but then nothing was like expanded on enough that, this sounds dorky, but like show the surf scene and show the people like, oh my gosh, what's that? Show that more. Have more of that or go down one of the rabbit holes that you opened up. It wasn't there. Now I've watched a lot of bizarre. I mean, UHF is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm okay with absurd, and even that had a story within it. I mean, that you could at least latch onto.
Right.
I've watched some random stuff. I mean, I like watching Kentucky Fried Movie.
There you go.
That was like a series of shorts, and all that kind of thing. So this was like a series of shorts, but I'm talking like a 1 minute in between a kid's cartoon kind of. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I really.
So I think I'm about to step on a minefield here, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Let's pull them out.
Did anyone get some Napoleon Dynamite-like vibes from some of this?
I lasted 30 seconds before I took the movie out of my thing and never watched it again.
Okay, so it's
and I tried twice.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, sure.
God, seriously?
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Like, okay.
And actually, I'll give him a shout out. One of the guys we work with, Carl, described it when we were on like a band field trip and we were on it was summer music camp, and he was going through all the scenes. I was crying. I was laughing so hard at the way he described the movie, and then there was some scene where someone takes a superhero and dangles him out the bus window or something, and he was describing the scene. I was literally crying. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta watch this movie. And I went home, I'm like, was he talking about the same? Like, because having Carl describe the movie was funnier than watching that movie.
Basically, you needed the sweeted version of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I guess. I'm right there with you, brother. Because I'm just like,
but I know, like that movie, like people love that movie.
Yeah.
Don't quite get it.
Yeah.
I'm not cool.
Well, I feel like times I have a quirky sense of humor too. But then I go watch movies that people are like, oh man, with your sense of humor, you're totally going to love this. And then I go watch it and I'm like, yes.
Comedy's a tricky thing.
It's okay. Napoleon Dynamite's one of them. I'm like, yeah, there are funny bits, but it's not as funny as... People are like, oh man, you would love, with the other movies that you like, you would totally love this. Or what was the other one? Nacho Libre?
Ah!
I love Jack Black. Jack Black is awesome.
Sure.
I went to go watch Nacho Libre. I'm like, all right, 15 minutes of this is funny.
Yeah.
The rest of it's just like, okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I see. Yeah, and I try not to tell people what they will find fun, like because of that. Like I will never go to someone and say, "Oh, you're going to totally find this funny." What I will tell them is, "You got to go check this out." And then if they come back and like don't get it, I'm like, "What the heck is the matter with you?" But I mean, like, but no, yeah. So.
Okay, so I'm not going to ask favorite scene because I don't think we'd get a favorite scene.
The surf scene, I dug it.
Oh, okay.
Like I thought the surf scene, like I was watching, I was just like, "Whoa, wait, this is cool!" Oh, we're right back.
Oh, we're back to the comedy. Okay.
Yeah, I think that
what I was going to ask is favorite or scene that you thought was the weirdest.
The shtick with her trying to get into the insane asylum was kind of funny. Or the shtick with him meeting the women for the first time in the hotel.
Yeah.
Air quotes. Those were amusing.
Why are you using air quotes?
No reason.
It wasn't a hotel? Why was it?
It had a very large bed.
Why was it an air? But he didn't want the large bed.
No, he did not.
Are you saying it's not a hotel?
It depends on your definition of hotel.
Are we not getting on the boat? What about the boat?
Forget the boat!
Whose boat is that?
No more boats. Yeah.
Is it your boat?
Whose boat is this boat?
It's your boat now.
That's coming up next year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
I'm prepared.
Very good.
My soul is prepared. How's yours?
Oh, I love that line. I've used that line in certain events too. Okay.
Okay. Back to a serious film.
Yeah.
Which
right.
Nora and her sense of humor as an 8-year-old, she was like, when that part came up, she knew that the guy's name was Yahoo Serious because I told them, like, the guy who made it, his name is Yahoo Serious. She's like, is that his real name? Actually, yes. He legally changed his real name to Yahoo Serious. And then when it came up at the beginning of the movie, a serious film, she was like, I get it. I was like,
cool.
Good for you.
I appreciate that. That's good.
Yeah,
I saw that too, and I was like, okay, that's funny.
There were elements good in it, but it just give me some kind of a cohesive,
a through line.
I'm repeating myself.
I think I think Dennis would call it a through line.
Okay.
I think that would be his term for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide if I had to pick a scene to choose as the quirkiest or weirdest or favorite, or I don't even know.
The driving instructor, and when he jumps in the back and has to commandeer the vehicle. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm talking about
different movie.
Sorry.
Well done. Well done. Is the hands on the clock scene actually good? Take that scene as a way to explain relativity to someone who doesn't get it.
You're asking a music teacher and a language arts teacher?
On purpose. I watched it twice, that particular scene, because as I'm watching it, I'm
like
going...
using that as an explanation?
Wow. I get that dumbs it down to a level that is pretty simple, but in a interesting kind of way, that scene has some merit to it as a way to explain relativity. Like there was some interesting things when they would when they would force him to explain the science a little bit.
Yeah.
It was somewhat interesting.
Then
and
make
then,
it a science movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right, then do that.
I mean,
right,
we've needed that for for how many years? You know what I'm saying? Like, then explore that. Make Marie Curie more than just the damsel in distress.
Sure.
Like, hello. I mean, give me some of that, and then to put the little thing at the end, like he was really a blah 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 blah. Well, based on your movie, I'm not seeing this, pal. You know what I'm saying? Like, based on your movie, I'm not seeing how this plays in with Albert Einstein. I still don't get the Australia thing.
Maybe,
that's part of the absurd part.
Well, and I think maybe they did it. It was an Australian movie, It was to say,
I don't know, but then
little hometown hero action.
From, Tasmania.
Going back to your point, I agree. There were good bits in there. It just,
very odd.
It's like a mile wide, inch deep of humor.
Yeah.
Nothing went down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think of what scene. If I were to pick a scene, what scene? I thought the Tasmanian devil was kind of funny.
Well, sure.
Where that little creature pops out.
Yeah.
Like the dad goes to shoot it, and
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. Of course, the kids are like, "Is that really what Tasmanian devils look like?" No, it's not.
Yeah, and then you had the absurd, weird creatures. And it's like, oh, we're gonna have a movie like that. No, that was the only once.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I can pinpoint one scene, and I maybe like some of the stuff when he was putting together the electric guitar or the electric violin or like some of that, and then playing it and like blowing stuff up, and that part was kind of funny. It's awkward to watch it with your kids, but I thought the scene where she sneaks in as his father.
Yeah.
And then they're in like the shower room, and there's all the guys' naked butts and everything else, and then like they start making out, and she's supposed to be disguised as his dad. I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny. That little awkward to watch with the kids, but it's all right. Yeah. All right. Well, that might be all we have for young Einstein. I do have 5 questions for you, though.
He asks each traveler 5 questions.
It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
You've got to ask yourself one question.
What are you asking me for? I don't know.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
5 questions.
5 questions.
Might need to start the timer here.
I need to remember what those questions are.
Oh, I'll read the questions back to you.
I believe you sent them to us.
I did send them to you. I was using my fancy new pad of paper. I'm gonna see. Maybe they'll give us like corporate sponsorship.
Is that the one that you microwave, or is that the one you wipe?
This is the one you wipe down.
Yeah, that's the one I have too.
On like not every page, but on the front page it says like, "Do not microwave this notebook."
Yeah, I love my notebook.
Yeah, I just got this from one of our friends here because that friend either got it or won it from somewhere, and they were like, "No, this is technology. I don't like technology. You take it." Like, okay. So
Amazon
Pat's looking confused, so I'll explain.
Amazon has pens, by the way.
Oh, do they?
If you need,
okay,
because it is that special.
It's
pen.
a special pen,
and that special pen, they don't really.
It's erasable.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't do a good job of telling you that, but it's erasable.
What says on the pen? Erasable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When you the ones you get from Amazon, like
they
don't really do
So
a good job
basically, Pat, free corporate. We're looking for free corporate sponsorship from Rocketbook.
Yeah,
because this is the new notebook I'm using. But that's how I sent out the questions.
Okay, right.
Was basically on this paper. You write on this paper with a special pen, and then you take your phone and you have an app on your phone, and you just hover your phone over it, and it kind of snaps a picture of it. And then depending on, there's these little symbols down at the bottom of the page. You can do that too if you want to. You can set on the app where you want those symbols to go to. So if I snap off a picture of this page and I like X'd the, I think it was the 4-leaf clover symbol, I put an X on it, and on the app I set up that 4-leaf clover to automatically text that picture to all 4 of you guys that do the podcast. So I don't have to go in and like take the picture, open the message, put your phone numbers in.
And what's exciting is that just the initial thing, it seems like technology, the designers are finally realizing that, you know what, there are some things that are easier just to write down real quick.
Right.
That's cool to see that.
The other example of this, and I saw this on their website too, is like you could take each of these options that you have, and it could be like the kids at our school, they use Google Drive. So they could have their different folders, and each one could be like your language arts folder, your math folder, your social studies, your science, your music, your whatever.
That's
so the
cool.
kids, they could take their notes, snap it off, but then the other cool part is you can erase this whole thing. Like this one, you erase with water, and you just kind of dry it off with a microfiber cloth. But there's another one of these. You actually pop it in the microwave.
Oh, okay. The original Rocketbook, you put it in the microwave, and it erases the whole thing.
Yeah.
This was not microwave.
This is not microwave,
Right.
but one of their other models is. So yeah. So that was how I sent out those questions to you guys.
It's funny because I'm looking at it, and I'm going, I think I know what he's got.
Oh, could you tell what what it was being used for? All right, so the 5 questions, 3 questions. 5, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I was thinking of like 5 questions. 3 questions is the 5 questions for young Einstein. Number 1, which scientist or inventor is your favorite? And that's any of them, not just ones featured in this movie. Number 2, if you were to invent something, what would you invent? Number 3, what's your favorite kind of beer? Number 4, what's your favorite movie by an Australian director? And number 5, your favorite scene from a movie where someone has to defuse a bomb. Give a bomb to a baby? That's a dangerous animal. All right, so put some time on the clock here. So I'm going to put 30 seconds on here. Which scientist or inventor is your favorite? Any, not just ones featured in this movie. You got 30 seconds.
That's so hard, but I guess I'll just say Gottlieb Daimler, because he invented the. I know he was the first to put like an internal combustion motor on a wooden bicycle, hence the motorcycle.
There
So I
you
think
go.
I would say that.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah, that would probably have to be my favorite. And I had to look it up to make sure I got the names correct. So it's not like I've got pictures of the guy. You know, close second would be Emmett L. Brown, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well done.
I kind of went back and forth myself on whether we could do fictional ones, but
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, there's the timer.
Did I just use up his?
No. That was your 30 seconds.
Oh, we each get 30
We
seconds.
each get 30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's yours?
I mean, you can yield to the gentleman from Mundelein if you want to, but.
Well, I'd first like to say thank you for hosting the.
Okay. All right, so mine, I put Leonardo da Vinci. Because when I tried to think of like, okay, well, who is it? Steve Jobs with the iPhone? Is it Nikola Tesla for all the electricity stuff? Is it Charles Babbage? Like I was running through my head of like all the different inventors that have invented things that I use regularly or intrigue me. And I was like, nope, Leonardo da Vinci, because the guy did art, he did sculpture, he invented crazy things that never got built until hundreds of years after he died. Flying machines, planning the ideal city, all that stuff. So I had to go with Leonardo da Vinci.
Thomas Alva Edison.
Oh.
Okay.
He, not just for the things he invented, for the things that he tried to invent and didn't go well. I know you can look back in history and he wasn't exactly the nicest guy on the planet, but...
Who is?
Right. And he also invented so many things that weren't things. He invented processes, and the idea of Edison is almost as powerful as him and the things he invented.
Cool.
All right, nice. All right. Number 2, if you were to invent something, what would it be? Bo.
I want the self-cleaning bathroom for my house.
Do you clean the bathroom at your house?
I do.
That's why you want it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm talking grout, I'm talking soap scum, I am talking the self-cleaning bathroom, y'all. That's what I want.
There you go. Are you talking about the SNL bathroom monkey? Do you remember when they did that
That would
commercial?
be fine, I think. Although I don't know if I want to deal with a monkey,
No.
but you know.
I think at the end of that commercial, I'm stealing your time.
That's
but
fine.
I think you were done.
Self-cleaning bathroom was pretty simple. That's
you
what
know,
I want.
If you wanted to go into more detail.
Nah, that's okay.
The scrubbing bubbles and everything. They had the bathroom monkey commercial on Saturday Night Live. Do you remember that one?
I'm going to look it up now because
it's like at the end of the commercial, the monkey like rebels and is like writing something on the mirror of the bathroom, like "monkey no want clean" or "monkey sad" or something like that. But yeah, it was a whole idea of the bathroom monkey that would be like basically your bathroom slave and clean everything for you.
I had the bathroom from hell. It was like every time I cleaned it, 10 minutes later it was dirty again. Then I heard about Bathroom Monkey. They said the Bathroom Monkey system would keep my entire bathroom clean for up to 8 whole months. They were right. The little monkey air freshener releases a clean, fresh scent and emits a piercing, ultra-high frequency shriek, scientifically designed to keep my bathroom monkey hard at work 24 hours a day. Now my bathroom's monkey clean and monkey fresh. And my bathroom monkey? He's more than a bathroom cleanser. He's a part of the family. I don't know where monkeys come from. I don't know how they reproduce. I don't know what they eat. But I do know one thing. They were born to clean bathrooms. And when its cleaning power is all used up, simply pick up another in any of 3 decorator colors. Red, blue, or orangutan. This little guy just started today. But you know, I think my new bathroom monkey and I are going to make a great team.
I'm in. That's the problem.
There you go. Yes. All right. Mine would be, I kind of cheated and I did too.
You and your lists.
Shut up.
And
It's
your
my
cheating.
show. It's my show. I can do whatever I want.
Sure it is.
I can cry if I want to. I chose either the Rocketeer jetpack, like one that actually works, like it wouldn't burn your butt off or your legs or whatever, because in real life I think it probably would, or the food replicator from Next Generation.
And there you go. Also a good thing.
Then I just tell it what I want and...
Yeah, I'd like to invent a Klingon bird of prey. I'm just
it's not about stopping world hunger or anything. He wants to tell it what he wants.
Well, no. I mean, it could stop world hunger if we had replicators. But yeah, like I mean, I could walk up and just be like, I'd like a chicken curry, please, and then I have my chicken curry and it's good to go, and I don't have to drive all the way to the Indian restaurant to get it, and I don't have to pay for it. And
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 30 seconds, Pat. What would you invent?
A fuel source that doesn't pollute. Something that we can use in vehicles that doesn't pollute, that doesn't require another fuel source to make it. Ethanol. And is something that we can put in our vehicles to run, and it doesn't require being taken from war-torn areas and all that kind of stuff. A clean burning fuel that actually works and is 100% clean burning.
Look at him making us look like schmucks. Wanting the clean
I just don't
bathroom.
I don't want to give up my internal combustion.
Wanting the
Like,
clean
that's-
bathroom and the rocket pack, and here's this guy over here. Well, I'd really like to solve world peace, or provide unlimited energy sources to the poor children of the third world countries.
I just don't want to give up my internal combustion motor.
I'd
That's
like
all
to.
I think.
You know what? I'd really like to invent something that would allow me to adopt all the children. And here's John. I want a rocket pack. I want to fly to work.
I just want a clean bathroom.
You just want a clean bathroom.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Well, on that note, to a more serious question related to the idea of adopting all the children in the world, Pat, what's your favorite kind of beer?
Guinness.
I'll stop the timer. Guinness?
Yeah.
Okay. All
That's
right.
it.
What do you love about Guinness? You got 20 seconds to tell me what you love about Guinness.
Oh, it's awesome. It's not just for breakfast anymore, by the way, as well. Guinness, it's delicious, man, and
Okay.
especially when you don't get it like super cold. When you want it slightly chilled, you get it at the right temperature.
Okay.
Oh, it tastes
Slightly
great.
lower than room temperature?
Slightly lower than room temperature. The taste is phenomenal.
Okay.
The aftertaste is great. The aroma is wonderful. It's the perfect amount of dark and not too heavy.
Okay. Speaking of dark and not too heavy, Bo, what's your favorite kind of beer?
That's kind of mean because
I'm sorry.
beer is.
I will allow you to do two since I
may
cheated.
have to. So style, I'm gonna say Belgian style farmhouse ales are my favorite. But beer is so important to me. I'm trying to
Beer in a clean bathroom.
yeah. So
I yield 10 seconds of my time to yours.
yeah, there's this new style that's sort of, it's kind of a fancy new thing. It's called a Northeast IPA.
Okay.
And it's a non-bitter IPA. And I really like it, but I've only had one. So it's really hard to call it my favorite, but it's really good. And so I'm intrigued still about these things.
I remember being called a beer snob in college.
Okay.
Because that was like you drink the big, and then, but now, I mean, it is amazing, the beer culture and market, and it's amazing. It's it's exciting. But I remember that was, oh, you're just a beer
The
snob. Get it.
local brewery in Mundelein, Tighthead, has, and they're all Fish fans and Grateful Dead fans, so some of their titles have to do with that. So this is Pitcher of Nectar. And it's a Northeast IPA in honor of Fish being from Vermont and all that nonsense. It is so good, and it doesn't have that bitter IPA thing going on.
Yeah.
But then Belgian farmhouses I'll always love.
Okay.
So cool.
Mine, I almost reject the question that I wrote down and came up with because I don't like beer. I've never been a beer fan. Not a fan. Don't like the taste. So I kind of have to go with, I tend to like the ciders. I'm good with those. So one that I found that I really like is from Austin, Texas, called East Ciders, spelled like C-I-D. So that's a really good one. That's probably one of my favorites. And if I were to go to another one, a more local one, the Not Your Father's Root Beer.
Very good.
Is very good.
You should try.
That one's dangerous.
You should try some.
Danger with Robinson.
You should try some farmhouses because they don't taste a lot like beer sometimes.
Okay.
Especially the ones that lean more towards sour.
On occasion, I will.
They
When
can
I'm
be
at
fun.
when I'm at the grocery store, they have a section at the grocery store where it's like you can pick 10 of pick 10 of whatever and just make your own And every once in a while, I will do that, and I will pick up ones I wouldn't normally drink. Like I did that with a Guinness not that long ago, because I'd never had Guinness before.
And what'd you think?
I didn't like it.
I can't imagine.
Not if you're not a big. You gotta.
Yeah.
But gosh, it's like mother's milk.
Oh, it is wonderful. It is a wonderful thing.
I want to go have one now.
I think yeah, okay.
But yeah, try some. If you ever see
Go get one and drink it while we're doing our next recording.
If you ever see labeled farmhouse, or even go so far if you see a Flemish sour, give it a shot. Okay, you might be impressed.
Give it a try. A very quick story before we go on to our other questions of our 5 questions. We had there was a stretch of time where anytime we had any kind of family event, I always got the Not Your Father's root beer, and that was still kind of back when it was hard to find. And so now it's at Costco and everywhere, and you can get it all over the place. But we had a 4th of July party, and I'll tell this story because I won't say any names, and the person is not going to be listening to this anyway. We had a 4th of July party, and I bought a couple of cases of the Not Your Father's root beer. And we had some friends had come to the 4th of July party at my mother-in-law's house, and this was an older couple, so they're in their maybe 70s, 80s, and the husband is just downing those things left and right. Whoops. And he's just like, this is really good root beer. I've never had this kind of root beer before.
Now there's a 3%, a 7%, and like a 28%.
We had the 7%. So, and
20 is so good.
I said, yeah, it's a lot of times it's I've tried other alcoholic root beers, and he's like, whoa, wait, what?
Oh, that's not good. Oh boy.
And I said, yeah, it's an alcoholic root beer.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh. And his wife just looks at him and goes, haven't you had like 4 of those? He's like, yep, they were really good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man.
Let's be handing over the car keys.
We got the older friends drunk. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, so question number 4. What is your favorite movie by an Australian director? Patrick.
Master and Commander.
Okay, Peter Weir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
John?
Mine, I believe, is also Peter Weir. Dead Poets Society.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with that one.
Okay.
I was going to flip a coin between some Baz Luhrmann choices.
Yes.
Okay.
But then I realized that Dark City was
Yes.
directed by an Australian director, and said I gotta go with that one.
I need to see Dark
I have
City.
a copy of it.
It is.
It might be on Blu-ray, so I'll have to look and see.
Fantastic.
And
You don't have a Blu-ray, do you?
No.
Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
Dark City pertains
Her
to what?
prime.
Dark City is kind of like The Matrix, but better.
That's how I know it. You told me about that. Yeah, okay, so I need to see that.
And Jennifer Connelly's in it.
Yeah.
And the main character is the Obergruppenführer from
Yes.
Oh!
Man of the High Ground. Rufus Sewell.
Yeah. Oh, Dark City's so good.
Yeah.
It's a yearly watch for me.
Awesome.
It's kind of like when I first watched it, it was not too long after The Matrix had come out, and I
Blew
saw
my
The Matrix
mind
first.
the first time I saw
And I remember somebody telling me,
Dude.
because it was featured, it was down when I was at University of Illinois.
Oh,
in
sure.
college, and it was featured at the Ebert Film Festival when they started that up. And I was like, all right, well, I don't have time to go see this at the film festival, but it sounds interesting. And a couple of people I knew, they were like, yeah, you should watch that. And it was kind of like you watch The Matrix and you're like, wow, that action movie is really cool. It's got philosophy and action. And man, I'm like, I'm trending. I'm like, I'm in the in crowd. I'm like, and then I go watch Dark City and I'm like, I don't know what drivel I've been watching up to this point.
Okay. So it's like going from the Not Your Father's Root Beer 7% to the Not Your Father's Root Beer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like when you're sitting there and you're like, well, The Matrix has philosophy and substance, and it's an amazing story in a movie, and then somebody hands you, like, it's that phrase everybody uses on the internet now. Dark City is like, hold my beer.
Yep.
My runners up, I know we're way over our time for this question, but my runners up were either Moulin Rouge, Dark City was on my list, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Can we just spare a moment for the entire Mad Max Road Warrior thing? Because even before I looked up Australian directors and all that kind of thing, my first thought was, whatever did Road Warrior, and that was just what an outstanding franchise. So I just want to give a second. I cede some of my time for talking about its awesomeness.
And then V for Vendetta was also an Australian director.
Oh, very nice.
So I had a hard time. I got it narrowed down to the 5th of it was yesterday. Yeah. I pulled out the pictures that I had the kids do a couple years ago where they did the person on the flames. It's amazing. I'm still married.
For so many reasons.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, so V for Vendetta was another one. I was like, yeah, Dead Poets, V for Vendetta.
Dead Poets, good.
Both are inspiring.
Oh, without a doubt.
One inspired me to become a teacher and to make the world better. The other one almost inspired me to blow stuff up.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, which one do I do? Let's do Dead Poets. Okay. All right, final question. Favorite scene from a movie where someone has to defuse a bomb? Bo.
Lethal Weapon 2. Toilet. I mean,
is that 2
come
or,
on.
Is that 2 or 3?
That's 2.
Is it 2? Okay.
Yeah. No, because 3 got just a little too stupid.
Okay.
3's not great.
Yeah.
2 is solid.
Okay.
That whole scene with the toilet and the two of them and the bathtub. I mean, come on.
Is it on 3 or 1, 2, 3? And then
I know
that whole
that's
thing.
right
There we
there.
go.
It's just so, every time we lift something at work, I have someone call it out. I let him get to 2, and I go, wait, are we lifting on 3 or 3 and then lift?
I think it was unloading stuff at a cross-country race.
Sure.
And I said, okay, and the kids are like, okay, on 3. And I'm like, okay, on 3. Well, wait, is it 1, 2, 3 and then go, or is it on 3? And then all of a sudden this mother started laughing, and I go, she goes, Lethal Weapon. It's good, Mr. C. I was like, yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, Patrick.
I agree with both. If we need to come up with another one, I'll say the one in Lethal Weapon 3, just because, I mean, it's so over the top. I mean, I get it. But it's Raj, grab the cat. And then, at the very end, they're like, who the heck is it? They're all just like applauding for him at the end. So I would say that. I can't think of any other, those movies,
Okay.
I would,
All right. I'm only going to go with one as my favorite, but I had Speed,
solid.
The Rock, and then I had some of the James Bond movies. Some of the
I was going to say, there's a really good one in Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, Octopussy had one where he's like, I love the clown fight where he has to like get to the bomb and he's in the clown suit. And there was that one. There was another one that I couldn't think of where he has to pull like this cylinder out of another cylinder, and I couldn't picture what.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was a Spy Who Loved Me, but
can't touch the sides.
And I thought that was a Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh God, I can
it's
picture
not.
him do it.
I know, and I tried to search for it and I couldn't find it. So if somebody wants to remind us of the James Bond movie, we'll just watch all the movies until we get it. But the one that I came up with,
because they were all on different cable channels or what have you, and I would just
rail off.
Nice.
13 Days of Bond.
But the one I did finally come up with was Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh yes.
I love everything that they have to go through to
with
diffuse
the
all the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Solid choice.
So, I like that one. So
that one's good.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for Young Einstein.
That guy is just cool.
Oh yeah.
That's going to do it for Young Einstein. So next time we're going to be taking a look at The Naked Gun. So come on back here for that one. It is awesome. In the meantime, if you want to catch us anywhere else, you can go to 30podcast.com. Find all the different ways you can listen to the show or interact with the show. We are on the Facebooks and the Twitters and all those other places. We have a voicemail line you can call in if you want to. But otherwise, we'll be back here next time with The Naked Gun. And until then, thank you, Pat. Thank you, Bo.
Thank you, John.
Go watch some good movies, and we'll see you back here next time. Be excellent to each other and go watch some good movies.
If you could split the nucleus of a beer atom into 2 fragments, then the mass of the 2 fragments will be less than the mass of the original nucleus. And the difference in mass will be transformed into energy. Energy equals mass times the square of the speed of light. I'll give it a go.